Hello again, my name is Russell Scott from scottcarvings.com, and today we're going to do the, I want to say part 2 or the second half of the group that I started last time with the Native American or the Ojibwe man with the Ojibwe woman, and she is going to be carrying a baby here. And one of the things I neglected to say from the last video is that the patterns you will find in the description, a connection to my website, to the pattern, the free pattern that comes with this video and the other videos is down in the description box. And as I've mentioned before, sometimes I might neglect to put it down there. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm always neglecting a lot of things. Well, I am. But the reason why I say that is when I put out a new video is that I would send the link to the pattern, letting my subscribers know that there's a new video out and there's the connection to the pattern. So with that, this would be a good time to ask you to subscribe to scottcarvings.com, which is the link is down below. And what you do is you'll, when you send your email address, you also get a little booklet or e-book, as it were, of free patterns for submitting your name into our list. And what happens is that I will send out videos. Send out email blasts whenever I have a new email, a new video that's out. A new book or a new rough out, sales, whatever. Usually I do send emails of a new free pattern at that particular time. And again, that is only for people who subscribe to scottcarvings.com, and you will get the link. Sorry, I got a mosquito around me here. It's getting a little, I think it's getting a little darker around here. Now, as I've mentioned, it's the same with the first video of the Native American. Now, this is an Ojibwe woman, the Chippewa, and I wanted it to come out to be semi-like 2,000 years ago, where in this area here at McCarthy Beach, most of it, a good chunk of it, was underwater. Only little hills, as it were above water. And we are right now on the one of the highest points at McCarthy Beach. It'll kind of go down a little bit. It's this is kind of all what do you say? They took the lawnmower to it, so then this is so the woods go on a little farther, and so with that, as I've mentioned, is that they did some archaeology. Another point at McCarthy Beach State Park is, the toilets area. When they were going to re-innovate the toilets and dig that all up, they decided to do a little archaeology before a lot of that disappears. And with that, and I was there, I got to, I didn't participate, but I had videos of watching them sift through the sand. It was really interesting. And once in a while they find little pieces or something. And sometimes you hear them out, what's that? Oh, even though it's a little piece, it's still a piece of history. And these are from Native Americans that were here at least 1, if not 2,000 years ago. So that's really what's really interesting. Now this particular as I've mentioned with the last, it is impossible to get any of pictures, of course. It's some kind of artist conception of what the dress, Native American dress, as it were, back then. Like I said, the best I could say is, if I want to get anything close to it, would be look at the caveman pictures. Would be sort of caveman, not pictures, artist conception, if you will. And so I probably will start in on something like that later, but today, like the Native American man, the best I can find are older pictures from from the 1850s to 1920s-ish. Oh, by the way, I forgot. This one here is, this will be about 8 inches tall. The other one, Native American, has by now, is just a little taller, about by a half or quarter of an inch. Just between over him, her a little bit. And so here's my little, get back here. First conceptual piece. And like I said, you should, it's really fun to take a piece of scrap wood and just carve in and take pencils and then pictures as best you can. I didn't get too deep, like I said, I didn't get too deep to the child's face. Now this one is probably going to be, I almost want to say, I guess it is going to be the most difficult of the two, because not only the baby, I'm holding the baby, you got the head is down, and that's what the rough out. See, by rough out, you have that intentional downward looking, and that's the reason why the Native American man was looking down. And as I said before, here she is here, and the other one is going to be like standing here, and he has that bag. Oh God, I forgot the name of Bagalera. I almost want to say it. It's not Spanish, and that's why I wanted it to kind of tilt this way, so he's looking this way towards the baby, stand a little taller. I thought that'd make a nice little couple there. If you want to, this would probably be a good time to, well, maybe you can make that into, use the same pattern and do the same thing for Mr. and Mrs. Pilgrim, or let me tilt this a little bit. Just a little bit, Mr. and Mrs. Pilgrim, or any other, or a nativity set, actually. What am I saying? But I wanted to do this as the Native American, and this is a Ojibwe Chippewa. And I could probably even say that this is a sort of a nativity set of the Ojibwe, basically. But anyways, let's flip this over here, and here's some of the ideas that I got from. She's got this, I got it so it's just kind of coming straight down. She's got this, I'm not going to have the knife. She'll have a little belt there. And and then there'll be a little bit of the, what do I call it, this extra hanging down, I want to call it buckskin is the best I can say it. And even though she has her pigtails in front, I'm going to have them in back. And of course, naturally, with her head tilted and turned, one is going to be a little longer than the other. And again, this is my conceptual, let's say from the computer drawing here, is I do have a Native American woman, and then just had a baby. You could pose all your characters. It's really interesting is if you get the morphs, that you can take this character and there's this little slider, you can shrink them all the way down to a baby. So that's actually another one of her. It's more of a character. Now here, unfortunately, I got a little too much, should we say, lunch there in the way, so I'm going to be pushing that back a little bit. And what I'm going to do, or what I did here, is this is just basically a wrap, and just the head is sticking out. So she's looking at the head. And again, go to daz3d.com and look at their studio. Like I said, it's free. And then you get true two-dimensional when you do the front view and the side view. And it's got the perspective view, which is like the three-dimensional view. But that's what I love about it. The only reason is, of course, if you want all of this other stuff, you are just going to have to pay for it. That's it. They still give you an interesting, good characters and some hair, and what you could do, you could still position. Like, for example, the character that they give you, you could still position in this, and then probably something for the baby. And this is just some kind of a dress that the best I can do, but I still, when I cut it out, I still took quite a bit off. This is just the best I could find, or so not to purchase something else. So with that, let's move on. I'll have this handy here. I also have another go by. This is one of my old videos, if you dig, I think, yeah, if you dig. This was actually my nativity angel carrying the baby Jesus, and you got the wings. This is a conceptual piece, that's why I got pieces slapped together. And this is it's called the Harvest Angel, if you go to my Harvest Angel video. And at the end, I changed the Harvest Angel, this is just a bunch of wheat. But the Nativity Angel, I do create the baby there. So there's a little extra, so I have that as. And of course, one of my little go-bys here, trying to get the concept of how to carve the face. I did do, I'll probably make it this is more regular, almost. I'll make it more Native American as I can. And now, as I mentioned, that this is the McCarthy Beach State Park. The park has been, you will probably have seen by now my CCC worker will be out, a video. And it was a CCC during the 1930s, the Civil Conservation Corps of the 1930s that Roosevelt installed for the sake of the New Deal and jobs and stuff like that. And so what they did is they plowed land to make it make parks and so on, and they took care of a lot of things that need to be taken care of. I've also done the forest ranger, and they helped out with the forestry and so on and so forth. And so the McCarthy Beach State Park basically opened up in 1945, though it was excuse me, open for the people to come and camp and all that kind of stuff. But that's really interesting. This is a beautiful park. Some of it, there's still some woods there, and the rest are campgrounds and what have you. But anyways, let's get started. I'll keep this, I always forget, I need this right off. Okay, here we go. First tool, of course, the pencil. And now I want to start with this bundle of joy, as it were, and trying to earmark. This is going to be, like I said, this is going to be the most difficult part. And the best thing to do is to first start out with where the hands are going. This is going to be an underneath hand. I'm just going to do a little. It's almost like just getting kind of the feel here. This is going to be an up hand. I think that's what I did here. Did I do that here? I tried to do an underhand and an overhand, as it were, instead of just having both underhand and it just would. Okay, there's that. And then of course we'll earmarked this for the head and for the body. Now the thing is of course this is going to be shrunk quite a bit. Now the elbows, or the arm, is going to go farther out than the head. So therefore I need to get. And then we got the arms. And that is. They seem, every time that I carve or begin to rough out, it always seems the forearms are a little longer because it's going over, and what's going to happen, we're going to be cutting a lot of that. What we've done with other arms is we would come across, however, we don't want to hit that baby's head, so it's going to come across this way, and we're just going to have to work our way around it. But I want to give just a little extra more so we can adjust just in case. And then this one will be a little farther out. Farther this way, because there's more hand. This one is not as much, but will still make it enough. By the way, where is the shoulder is right, it is right there. And a little further down, this he's going to go all the way down his hand. Let's say he. But still want a little bit of arm width. So a little farther out, farther this way, not as far, but we're really widening it up for now. We'll shape it later. I just want to get things started here. Now again, what I've mentioned is let's not play with the back as much. However, on the other hand, this is going to be earmarked for pigtails. And we can at least widen it out. It's going to be much thinner than that. And then this will go away, and of course this will go away, this will go away. And the hair is still going to come down a little bit. And we're going to make a square peg into a round peg. This, she will still have, I don't want to have too much of a girly figure on her. We'll still watch for it because she's going to have the band here. So we'll have the hips, but then mostly from the hips, it should come straight down. I think, is that what I did here? Straight down or kind of out a little bit. Yeah, I think I kind of goofed up where the hips were. I would have fixed that if I put the belt in. But then from here, it's going to go relatively straight down. We've kind of put a little bit of bow in there for the sake of it not being too straight. We like to have some character. And again, the head is, see, here's where the neck, and that's going to start here, where the neck is, right in the center. And there's the baby, there's the nose, there's the lid. So I'm going to, if we shrink this a little bit, it's going to be more like towards here, so. And there's a little bit of McCarthy Beach sounds there. And this is going to be all rounded. And this is going to be quite a difficult piece. Not only here, when it comes to female carvings myself, is that, and probably others, is it's not a matter of, let's take a knife and snap, 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 take the chisel, cut, 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 and there it is. Isn't she pretty? A lot of it is, especially from cutout, we gotta cut a lot of wood. We gotta be careful not doing a little wacky hacky and taking off things that shouldn't be took off. Doing one thing at a time. And here, this is the same thing here. This is gonna come. This is gonna go away, but this is gonna spill a little bit. I think. I don't know if I did. Now, according to this, it really doesn't spill too much. Yeah, it does spill. Well, there, I didn't have the hand in the blanket, so the blanket will, yeah, to spill over. And so that's what we want to do, is one step at a time. The only thing we can get wacky hacky is, of course, like I said, except we got to figure where the figure is. The figure is where the the hip and the waist is. I'll come back to that. And everything else is pretty well round. The feet. I am thinking on doing the same thing, that since she's turning this way a little bit, I mean, she's actually standing. She's standing, therefore these feet will be straight. And what I mean by straight is the standard separation for the two. So she's the one who's standing straight. It's the Native American, it's the man who's kind of turned a little bit to look down at the baby. Now, right now, I do apologize. I know these feet. Oh my goodness, what kind of feet does she have? Oh, we're going to be doing a lot of shrinking of that, but just getting the concept. That's the direction that the feet, the toes are going. That's what I'm going to do. So, everything else, and the hair is going to be basically rounded. Now, a lot of this is going to be, usually when I turn a head, I want to kind of square it a little bit. In other words, sorry about the burn mark. I got a blade that is really dull, but I want to keep cutting until it breaks, and it's just not cooperating. But I think what I'll have to do is just change out the blade. But anyways, until then, sorry. But until then too, let's get started. Like I said, I think to help out is I think it's going to be a little bit, and I'm going to come back later on when I start playing with this and really shrink that head. And both the man and the woman are both, I want to say, caricature. That even though, no, it's darn close. Now, realistic would be the head, and then from the chin. So this would be her chest area. Her chest area is supposed to be about here, but it's coming down to here. And you're supposed to have eight, maybe even 7.5 heads. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. So the head is still a little bigger. So it's still semi-caricature. And as long as it's a little bigger, the main thing is that we are going to work on making that, I want to say, as pretty as possible. Right now, that's kind of, I just did a conceptual, let's get this going kind of a thing. Hands are a little big, could shrink them. This one is not so bad. But anyways, there we go. Okay, we're back. I had to move. Right now I'm near Big Sturgeon Lake, in an area I still would believe that would be above water, and the Native Americans could have been around here. I've seen sort of the shoreline, or it could have been a big drop-off point right here thousands of years ago, or it could be the CCC camp, which is somewhat behind me, may have done some plowing, but it isn't really flattening out. It's more because it's still rolling around here. That's why I don't think it is that. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to pick up. I'm going to do what I've done with the others is kind of, let's get the corners off, the Sharpies off. See, make sure I'm still in. And now, as I've mentioned, if I want to get that Sharpie off, I want to preserve the head, the baby's head. So it's kind of a combination of using my V and taking a Sharpie off of the arm there. And again, I'm using the chisel part of my V tool. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. But let's just keep going here. Let me get things out of the way. Keep going here. Like I said, I did this. I still want to have our pigtails coming down there, so we gotta watch for that. Now the body here, oops, is fairly round, and like I said, I'm gonna get that female figure in there, but she does not have a square figure, so it looks like another piece of my cuticle glove got knocked off. So, like I said, just want to take the corners off so we can handle it a little better. Now, the thing that's interesting is this is still a relatively semi-concept piece. Almost, I think it's done. Which there are some parts here that you may not have, because you will be having the pattern of the finished product. in there. And usually what I do is I put in just a little more wood than I ought to. And oh, excuse me, like I said, I got the boom style. Now I just want to take a little bit of the corner off here because I'm pretty well sure that mosquito get out of there. It is starting to get late and the mosquitoes are coming out, but I did put a lot of spray on. Doggone it, this thing is really falling apart. Uh-oh, that sounds like thunder. It looks like rain could come this way. I think we're going to miss it, is what I'm believing. Okay, I'm taking quite a bit of this off. Now, the reason why we have wood here is because of the head. So this is like the head. Okay, and then I want to, because her head is going this way, just taking those points out. They really sting when you, and the head, because the head is going towards the baby. So we can take quite a bit off here right now. I'll take a little bit of the sharpness here. The sharpness here. A little bit of sharpness here. Now I am wondering how, I'll adjust myself here. How, yeah, okay, it's better that way. I was going to think about zooming in, but I better not. Okay, now, like I said, I want to get the baby's head in there. Will be sticking out more. Therefore, I'm going to have to take a knife to this. Therefore, I could, well, before I take the knife to it, I want to take my V tool to this here, because this is going to be her hairline. Braids. I guess I'd get a little bit of that off of there. So we're getting that started. Same here. Now I'm not sure if the baby will extend over the shoulder, but let's work on it. Let's work for it. I like to get the V and cut some things away. Now the braids I am going to make as wide as possible for now, because I'm sure we're going to be doing quite a bit of adjusting. Use the flat edge to take some of that down. And again, her back is going to be arched as well. So let us take the knife, now that I got that started. I do believe that the baby portion, of course, will be the more difficult. But and of course the female face, because remember now, she's looking down. And we got to keep that in our mind when we do that, because if you keep playing with it, you know, I don't know if you've ever done that. You wanted to turn a head, tilt the head, and you keep playing with it, and for some reason the head just kind of goes right back to where it came from, or back to center, and we don't want to do that. So she is bent. You could probably bend even farther down. I think I may have bent down a little more farther for her to look down at the baby, but I mean, you still can bend. My nose is still straight ahead. I'm looking at this I'm looking at it, see, okay, I'm looking at this. Now my eyes would be straight, yeah, my chin would be right on, but how I'm carving, there's still quite a bit of chin space in there, so we're still good. Having her head not completely, the nose completely pointing towards the baby. You could do that. Change it if you wish, but I don't think it's necessary. So I want to take a little bit of this off. Because remember, the the elbow is what's sticking out the farthest. So as I'm just starting to commit a little bit of this, I don't think the baby is that, well, it's gonna, the hand is gonna turn and be flat. But in the meantime, and we may, of course it depends on how big. She could have this big baby. And again, if it's flat, then I want to come down a little more. Okay. Now, as I've mentioned, let's roll this just a little bit. This is another element that's going to be a little difficult because of that hair. And so therefore the elbow is sticking out, and I think I made a little more room there for the baby. And so yeah, right now the baby is just sort of a blob until we get there. Until we get to shaping. But at least I think we got it to the point where it's starting to take shape. In which this arm goes almost straight back. We'll leave it. We'll leave it a little bit. We'll come back later when we come to shaping. And same on this side. That shoulder is going to go back. No. Yeah, the arm to the shoulder's got to go back. Now we got a little song sparrow in the background there, chirping away. Let's take away some of this braid here. So I'm not sure how that braid is going to work right away. So it's going to be, I mean, I think it's going to be, well, where's my picture? Now, like I said, oh, I don't have the back. Where's the back? So her braid is in front. See how it goes from the ear, it goes straight down, and I assume it goes straight down in the back. That's what I had. It did go straight down. So we will leave the braid as, well, of course, you leave the hair with the head. And so we will work with that then. Next, I want to take the V tool, and as I've mentioned, the foot does seem to be a bit larger, but we will deal with that as we go. But I want to at least all right, let's take some of that foot off in there. And the picture I have that I want to do this with, this pattern with, does not have the foot. It goes down to the waist level. Clean that a little bit. Same with on this side. And that's why I'm doing a lot of conceptual type of pieces. I always want to do some new stuff. Just do new. And this is how, if you were in this situation again, that you would like use the butt or the side of the chisel of the V tool just to get it formed and shaped. Same with this side. And the foot again is way too big, but we will fix that as we go. Now I want to begin in the rounding process. I wonder if it would be easier if I did, use this to start with. I'm doing that without my glove, my owie glove. And like I said, I want the back to arch a little bit, like the man. Kind of taken off as we go, and like I said, it's almost straight down from the waist. It should go straight down. I mean, at the waist is where you get that, I want to say, girly figure, if you will. But once it passed the waist, I think about in the butoctal region, then it goes straight down. Yeah, she's not wearing a sexy dress. She's just wearing something to cover herself, and I think I still got enough to make that go. Oops, now we got backwards. Now it gets backwards down there, or it gets right back there. I can use my knife later. I just take these huge chunks off and out there, and the saw marks as well. Just beginning to shape this. And with it going straight down, so I'll have to take a look that I think the feet will be coming out. Yeah, here I wasn't too sure how I was going to do that. So it's almost like it's up to you. Do you want the feet out? Do you want the feet in? But I do not think that the dress will go all the way to the ground. Okay, I'm glad I got it started. Started around it. So I want to smooth this out a little bit. More saw marks off. Smooth around. Now we can make this as smooth as possible. What I did with her, and of course what I'll do with this one, is that we will be using some round tools to put some creases in it and some waves in it. Right now we want to just clean it and get it shaped right. Now this is probably I want to say a little easier than the other characters, male characters I did, because you got to do one foot and then you got to do the other. But here, kind of get the skirt done, but all we have to do as soon as we're done here is then I want to find where the waist is. Careful, it just the green just kind of changes up there. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm take a... Oh! One chisel goes down. Oh, there's another chisel and another. But while you're looking at this, giving you a thus far, I'm going to reach in my bag and find my... Uh-oh. There it is. Find my off. Oh, it's got a cap on, so I gotta... Because he is getting in my underskirts. My underskirts here. So there you go. Have you ever seen a wood carving video that stops and puts a little bit of the bug spray on? Oh, oh goodness. If it doesn't get the bugs, it'll get me. Now, what I want to do is, where is the, oh, where's my sheet? Oh, where'd my sheet go? It's right here. Is to kind of figure where the waist is. And according to this, now we're going to be, yeah, right about where underneath the hand-ish is. And see here, well, she's got that maybe a little higher. Yeah, and if she put her arm down, then it would be where the, because the baby's held up. And then right there. So that would have to mean right to where, actually right where the baby is. Where's my pencil? So here's where the waist is going to be. Actually right there. And I want to bring it in just a little bit. There. So we're getting a little bit of the waist in there. Yeah, a little bit in where, oh yeah, because we're going to thin her quite a bit. Let's see where the butacto goes. I think the butt is a little higher. I'm not sure, so I'll just, there. And this is just getting, whoops, get that out of this so you can't see that. And we're just getting started on that. One way we can tell is, like I said, is it does basically go straight down from there at the butt and at the waist generally. And again, don't worry about this being too straight, because we'll be putting some round tools to it. I mean, it's getting there. Same here, just a little bit. Maybe have the feet sticking out a little bit. Now, because of the waist, we got this upside down. I'm going to take quite a bit of that off in there. Like I said, it's going to come relatively straight down. Because she's standing straight as well. I mean, if she was turning, then we would have a little bit of action down there. Some material action down there. And when we get into the final detailing and cleaning up, I'll get to the, I want to say to the exact measurements But let's make this a little more rounded for the front. Again, we don't know what we're going to do with the feet. Be careful you don't snap the feet, then I guess we come to the conclusion as we're going to take it back. And again, what I'm doing here is I'm probably taking off more than what your pattern is, because your pattern is a completed pattern. And this will be time for you to take a break and look at your carving and see if you're kind of getting at least close to where I am now. And kind of rounding this and taking this in a bit. And like I've said, every time I use somebody else's pattern, I always give it extra play. And I'm going to stop here with this and move on. I'm going to stop here and then I cut some, and I'm going to move on. Okay, here's what we got so far. Still a little square here and there, but we'll come back to it. I want to start in on the hand and the baby, blocking out the hands, the arms and the baby, because the arm and the baby seem to be one and the same. I'm going to start rounding this a bit. Ooh. Oh, I squeezed the knife against the wood. Or squeeze my finger with the knife against the wood. You know, let's take one of my round tools for this. And I'm still thinking that there's going to be quite a bit taken off here. Like I said, once we start working on the head, then we'll be realizing how big this is, and it's probably, like I said, it's probably much smaller than what I got now, and you're like, what the heck are you doing? And you can have the baby as big as you want, for heaven's sakes. So, where is my, oh, right here. Let it well down, so I'm gonna, now the hand is higher than generally higher than the baby, or at least where the hand is. But this part, now the hand is going to be flipped underneath. So what can we use to bring the knife to finish? Or begin to finish. Like I said, that head might be a bit too big. And so we're shaping the baby as we are shaping the arms. Now, a little bit here. And that head, that is a big whomping head. Yeah, we are way going to be fixing things as we go here. And so, that's just for the sake of penciling. I'm just going to pencil in here just to say that's where the arm, and here's where the crease is. Same with here, here's the crease, and then not committing to it, but just to get a feel for that right there. And then, like I said, the hand is flat, and I think the hand is already flattened because you don't have to turn it. Cleaning up the saw marks. And I think we still have part of the arms right here. And maybe a couple more. Oh, that saw mark is pretty deep here. So if we do have the hand underneath, let's bring this out a little bit. I bet you I got this. There's not too much of the papoose there. And that's why I prefer having this instead of the usual papoose Native American way in the back. I mean, that's like almost cliche-ish, I want to say. But here, I prefer to see figures and they're more natural. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to do a ranger here. He wanted me to carve him a Smokey the Bear, and he showed me the realistic, I want to call it the realistic human version with the man standing up and the bear standing up, pants on, all that. And then the other Smokey the Bear is very cartoonish, as it were. And I said, well, how about the real Smokey the Bear? Is the bear cub that's in the tree after the fire. And the bear was yowling. And that's where Smokey Bear was born. Smokey the Bear was born. But something like that. I prefer more realistic-ish, kind of characteristic-ish. Now we got kids from, it is a, in front of us is a group camp. And they're coming in. I'm going down on the shore, so I have to keep going. And they're screaming and having a good old time. Now this flat hand, we flat this way. Take the saw marks out, because that's now what I've mentioned before is the helps is this crease. Is this crease. And what we want to do is we want to round the arms a bit. Get those arms in. And they're really going to shrink quite a bit. But because of that, we can round the arms. And round this arm. And this part of the baby, I want to say, is relatively imperfect. So because it's cloth and the legs could be bent in one direction or the other, so whatever happens here is really non-consequential. Just as long as we don't short him. Because to tell you the truth, he is popping out, isn't he? That's kind of bugging me, so let's round the baby a little bit more. It looks like a cocoon. So again, yours is probably, you got a better shape, an idea with your rough out or your cutout. But again, we'll adjust as need be, because interesting, we needed to adjust that a little bit because of the arm, and he's not going to be sticking his feet up. So we'll get back to that. Again, let's put this in. Okay, oops, this needs to be rounded. needs to be brought in, rounded, brought in. Guess one of the kids learned how to whistle. Okay. I'm going to adjust this a bit. Moving around the elbows a bit. And bring that in a little bit more. Increase this a little bit more. And then I will show you what we did so far. Okay, so far, except before I do that, let me bring the elbow in, the shoulder in a little bit more. And so far, I mean, we've got quite a bit to go. But what I want to do for right now, I'm taking this off. I'll make sure all the saw marks are off. And I want to kind of get started into the head. The reason why is because that's how this will start to shape, because we want to know how the head and how that shapes is how the head and the baby. Get that little piece out of there. Okay, what I want to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to round the head a little bit. Because see, this, she is not going to have ears, unless if you want to put the ears in. Now this is the front and this is the back. The head is supposed to be here going straight back, and so therefore let's go perpendicular. Will that help? Let's get the head going here. Now, I want to start with this. The head is turned quite a bit, so therefore a lot of wood has got to come off. And a lot of wood has got to come off this way. But be careful, I don't bring that head up. So therefore the face is going to be more in over here. And the face is going to be more forward. Okay, now I want to, like I said, just start shaping, taking the saw marks off here. Take a break and get the saw marks off while shaping at the same time. Start rounding. Like I said, I want to be careful with this point here, because like I said, that is an important point. And if you start taking that off, and so this is going to come down here. We are rounding it to make it as the head turns, which be a little bit more this way more. Oops. Oops, let's take, and as you keep trying to take piece by piece, rounding it in the way that it should be, then you begin to see. Now the head, see, this is the back of the head right here. Okay. Put Still bring it down. There we go. Now here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our pencil. And let's see if this will help. Let's put the face in. Sort of the hair. The hair separation. Hair separation. Shoulder or back, one of the two. Not on the shoulder. And this is going to go to the shoulder here. So how does that look? That's round. See, it does this kind of a thing. This kind of a thing. See, I'm still feeling where the head should be. If I put the head here, we can always widen it. See, as I keep peeling it. So I'm going to take my V tool and just kind of get it started. The understanding of where it should be. We still in the camera, make sure. We still have our head looking down. I'm sure the forehead is going to be worked on. Kind of bringing the shoulder arm back a little bit. Still feeling the shoulder and the arm. Now what I want to do, what I want to begin with, let's clean this a little bit here. Okay, this is what I want to kind of do. Let's start shaping that. Let's use a pencil first. What does that look like? Does that look pretty even? Give or take. I'll take that big chip out. Big chip. Goes back. But, yeah, and it goes back here along the hair. But here's where we want to, right here is turn it a little bit and give it a little bit of a neck. It's just, well, we'll give her a neck later, but let's do it now. But unfortunately, it snapped out of there. Well, fortunately it did, because we want it to snap out. Interesting, now that that's out of the way, we can bring this up. So profile says it looks okay so far. Let's do it to this one. And just by putting this part out, this chip out, you take any kind of tool. Now again, I want to, you can take a piece by piece if you want. And when you go piece by piece, when you take that chip out, now it's starting to take shape. A lot of hacky wacky, a lot of more crap to get out of there. I want to take the knife and take the saw mark off. Now what generally is supposed to happen, let's get to reassure our shoulder again. Now, though the fact that her chin is down, therefore we won't see too much of the neck. But what's supposed to happen is this is supposed to be the deepest part right here. It goes down and then goes up like this for the chest, for the neck. And the thing is that we can't. Usually I'd have a V tool if she she or he is looking up, but at least get some of this going here. I think I'll do one more. And I think we're going to have to shrink that quite a bit. Now if I were to take another cut, make this a little deeper. Like I said, if we go this way, I want to add a little bit of a neck, but I don't think we're going to do that. Let me take my small, where's my small number 11, and clean that out a bit. Because once we start doing this kind of a piecing and piecing, things start to shape up. Okay, next thing I want to do, her head is pretty wide. I mean, I'm not going to get into the face right now, but I want to do a little bit of the hair while we're at it. And just taking a little bit of that hair out. Just again, trying to, because if we do that, then we can sharpen this by taking most of that out there. Same with here, back here, or saw marks on. Now, I don't think we need to take too much hair out on this side. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. And again, just a little bit of a curve here. That forehead, that top of the head may be a little too sharp, because I wanted to make sure that get that head going down. And it looked like when I did the profile there that it did kind of look like got too much. But when you got that nose and forehead going on there, then we're okay. All right, thus far. Yeah, let's go like this. And you could see, this is one of the things that if you have, when you're painting eyeballs. So she is looking at the baby, so you would take this, and that's how you would paint. And that's how you'd put the eyeballs in. You want her to be looking at you, because she's looking at the baby. But everything else will be more shaping, but it is coming along. I think the baby's still a little too big. A little bit of, I need to do a little bit of this shaping here. And a little bit of this shaping here with my little round tool. While we're at it, just do a little bit more cleaning away, because now that we got the head going, let's start cleaning out some more of this stuff. Okay, just want to leave that with the knife nice and clean. Clean it up. And so here we go with the thus far again. Don't worry about this being too big, because there's the nose. A lot of that is going to come back because of the nose. And of course this is going to go forward too, depending on how that goes. Baby is a little too big, but that's good because we can shape it. Hands, shape the hands and everything else. And I'm even thinking, once we're happy, I'm even thinking quite a bit of this is going to come off. And of course, more than likely is not on your pattern. There she is so far. And so what I want to do is get into the more details. There's quite a bit of retrospecting going on, especially how the baby is going to be. And again, you will have the better pattern, the finished pattern, and wondering what the heck is that blob you're doing there? Everything else is going relatively fine. Now, as I always do, is I start at the bottom, and here's, say, Mama Junior or something. I don't know. She's holding on to her second baby, daughter there. I kind of like this one. I think I was beginning to lose it with this one. Because, well, there's still a lot of material there that we can break away. But, as I said, we'll start from the bottom and work up. Now, here's the first one. Here's the two. And they're going to be together like this. He's looking down at the baby. She's looking down at the baby. See, what we're going to do is make sure that that comes straight to the baby's face. And then whenever you position this, his nose points directly to the baby. So with that, I know he's a little larger, a little wider, you might say, because he's a man, I suppose, men. And I don't want to make her the quote-unquote little lady, but there's still going to be quite a bit's going to be taken off. I'm pretty good width-wise, because, let me see, now I got my female character here. This is the under, well, the underneath and the above, and it's a little farther down. Anyways, so I'm going to have some kind of, I don't want to say the word girly figure, as I mentioned before, because this dress is relatively, oh heavens, I got some water on there, I'm sorry about that. How it comes straight down. And we're going to have the belt in there is the only, I want to say, waistline, but other than that, it would be almost like straight down, kind of more like from a, when you go to the hospital gown. So I want to shape this just a little bit in order to get to the foot. And what I'm seeing here, like I said in retrospect, I mean, here comes, her chest is going down, because there's going to be a little bit, should be a little bit there, more there, and then come back, and so this, a lot of this should disappear. And depends on where her knee is. If her knee is out a little bit, and some of that will disappear. I don't think, yeah, about that, but I'm going to kind of leave this alone for now. And the way the saw marks are ending up, I think we're still okay. The baby, again, is going to need a lot of work. And I think I'm going to be tucking more in there than anything else. I mean, I kind of wanted a bulbous head. And what I was originally trying to do over here was have the head in. But the problem with having the head in is that then you got to get your knife and chisels in there. So I'm going to kind of have it out a little bit so it's a little more easy. In fact, that's kind of a relatively decent space to put the nose, if not. But the head is going to, and the body, everything is going to be much, much smaller as your design is. And because the thing is, the reason why I'm going to make it a little much smaller this way, because, and have it more closer, is because I want the hand over the baby. See, that's what I lost with this. I lost that, so I'm going to have to work with that. Baby's probably going to be even smaller. That is where there's going to be a lot of work. All right, I want to begin with starting to remove this portion here. Now, would it be easier to do it with a knife? Yeah, because my hand is right on. As I mentioned about Sharpies, I mean, the shoes aren't sharp, but they're right at, well, let me see if I can get my cuticle glove on. I have got to, one of these days, I've got to stop at the dollar store. Yeah, this is a dollar store glove because I wanted a simple glove. You go to the department store or the garden stores, and they got the big leathers and the really cutesy looking and all that. I'm going to come up here. The main thing I want is to make sure, I might leave it at that. For now, I probably will shape it a little later. I'm going to clean it up a bit here. Let's get out the big chips. Maybe come in just a little bit. And as I mentioned before, you are seeing me dealing with a concept in which you have the better pattern. So it's going in quite a bit. And I don't want to lose too much around here because what's going to happen, I'll stop right now. I do want to put that belt in somehow, and it is around the waist, and we need to figure where the waist is. It is about here. So I'm going to round this a bit. That's fine around this, but I want to leave this a little bit. Here's her belt. I mean, it's going to be like, there's the bottom part of the belt. Oh, excuse me. And I suppose this would be a belt to kind of hold things, either hold things together or hold things. And what she's got here is she's got a knife. Now, I don't know, with her having a knife, I mean, that's more of a, you know, that's not a war knife, you know, that's a go out and get things knife, and I'll decide to, I'll probably put that in there. And what's going to happen is the buckle is going to be about I'll put that in because there's just an extra of her accoutrements. But the thing is that it's going to have to be buried underneath. And here's the buckle, I suppose she's got there. The clasp. She's got a knife here that's going to come down. Might as well add some extra for her because she's kind of pretty well easy here. And then I also want where like she's pulling it together and it'll be underneath the extra belt. Is that a pretty decent knife? That's not a knife. This is a knife. So at least she has something going on with her there. So let's see if I can use my medium. Just at least kind of, and again, like I've mentioned before, is this end is up, this end is out. So as to get some three-dimensionality started here. Now, like I said, the knife is going to be above. Let's see here, the buckle is going to be above. Or the clasp. And then this part is going to be above, and we'll have to figure that out on the other side of the knife. And then there's the rest. And there's of course going to be a lot of stop cutting because but I like to get the chisel just to get it kind of started and get the feel for it. And that's quite a bit to kind of go in there. And then I'll do this and this. All right, now that I committed to that and get that going, I'm going to round things off and see how it looks. Am I still in? So, and then come in, up, and in, up, and in. Now, she may have a little bit of butoctyl back here than the waist, but then again, from here, the farthest part out, down is straight, relatively straight. Now what I mean by straight down as in it hangs straight down. We are going to put some dents in it, of course, some fabric loops in there. Still shaping and shaping. Now as for the knife, I'm going to commit to this, to this, to the belt coming down. A little bit of cleanup here. Yeah, I was debating on putting the knife in, but then she doesn't have much. And I got to, I mean, we'll still have the flowage wrinkles. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. And I realize that is not a war knife. That is a going out and get things done knife. Here's where that's the saber, or this, not the saber, what's that called? Scabbard. Scabbard? Scabber. Again, more shaping later. Let's just get it started. Kind of taking the pencil marks off would be nice at this time. Get a knife in here. Get a knife in here. Because if possible, I wish I would have thought about this I should have left this more wood here and then have that sticking out more. So let's round this a bit. Careful of the knife. Alright, with that, I want to get some more, like I said, it's going to come straight down, which means I want to get some more feet here. And I think we may even be taking feet away. I'm not sure yet. Stop cut first, a little bit first. I don't want to take off any of that shoe or moccasin. Now, what would you probably would have just a moccasin. I don't have any. This picture here that I have, that I'm going on, does not have the feet. Now again, this kind of comes out. We can still have it sway a little bit. Let's take some more saw marks off. What I need to do is this is kind of difficult to have done out there in the woods. It was fun being out there doing these carvings out in the wilderness just to get it started. Now, here's what we want to do next. That's one thing about having this as a couple. Is let's look at this guy here. Now his feet, her feet, should not be bigger than his. And actually, if we were to round it a little bit, we'll take it down just a little bit. And I did have this. Did I have this straight on? I think I had that. No. Pencil. This is leaning towards. I wanted to like she was there, and then he came along, and then she turned. But when she turned, see, I think I may have this backwards with the feet, but I think if they stopped, I'm almost sure I have that backwards. If you ever do that, do it the other direction, but you can still have it like this, that she turned. Turned a little bit more towards him. Okay, like I said, we're gonna first one around. Now she's gonna have, to the best of my understanding, knowledge, whatever, she'll have moccasins on. I don't know if she'll have a shoe on, but I'm going to still go through the same motion as I did with him, doing the circles. And I'm going to do this, kind of lift it up a little bit. I think I goofed up here. I did not lift it. But we want this to bend a little bit. Okay. All right, let's begin. I suppose the best way is to start putting the circles in. The thing is I want to, well, like I said, you find the one that is smaller of the two, make that one perfect, and then do it to large one. But on the other hand, I want to at least kind of get some of these off in there. Make sure they're relatively, getting close to relatively the same size. And I have this here going on. Get some of that under, I want to get some of that out of there. And of course I don't want to do too much picking, wasting your time doing picking. But I want to at least get the get it kind of started. Where is my brush? So let's see. Hopefully take some of that flap out of there. I always hate that flap. Okay. Actually, when I got a video going, I hate showing crap. But like I said, about 60%. And we got the sun. Mr. Golden Sun is coming out, so I better. It's morning again. Even though it's morning, I can hear the air conditioner going on in the background. Pretty soon Lynn will come down and start doing some painting. It's a good thing to get a kind of a jump on this. Same here. %, 40%. Reach for my little barrier here. There we go. Oh, careful, sorry about that. Just hit you in the head there with my elbow. Okay, where are we? Just opening up a bit here. Okay, let's take my knife again, like I did before. Just a little bit. I don't know, I think that the moccasin would have it kind of fit to feet. I'm not sure. Or if it'd just be more just a straight shoe, as it were. A little bit of maybe some undercutting, but at least straight down. Rounding, cleaning up, rounding. You could say, well, she quite a bit of water gain carrying that baby in. That's why I should have and neglected to put a bigger paunch in front of her. I was debating on this being just more of a 6-month-old instead of a newborn. So, and again, I want the toes. Toes. And a little bit of rounding, just a bit of rounding. This is a little easier than the others because most of it is covered. There's no really particularly any boot kind of a thing, just to make sure that got something going on here. Again, I think I need more, especially over here, I need a little bit more toe. There we go. And I suppose we'll do some cleanup later. So how's that on, oops, flap? How's that first one look? Not so shabby there. Next, bring it around. A little bit of cleaning. Put in the dent. Bring in a little bit. Get rid of that flap. There we go. Again, that flap. I hate those flaps. Rounding and shaping, making sure they're both the same size. You could have one maybe slightly smaller, but no. The toe. That didn't work on this side, on lifting. I'll put a little bit of dent here, just a little bit. All right, I think we're pretty decent. We can move on a bit, I think we can. Maybe I just leave, if I did this, if I come in a bit, it'll leave her with a little bit of a punch. There. Okay, now here is getting under, and I think I might leave that for now because we're going to work with the arm as soon as I get the dress here done. Okay, oh, where are you? How far off was I? Let's tilt it just a little bit this way. Okay, before I go away from the dress part, let's put some imperfections, some creases. Well, be careful of getting close to that knife there. I got that boom style tripod just right over my head there. So I'm starting with this number 5, about 25 mil. Okay, who's next? Another number 5, about 8 mil. I don't think it's 10. Could be 6. Which is a little imperfection right there. All right, who's next? Now I'm going to use my number 9, about 4 mil, but I am only going to do a couple of these. I'm not going to go too far up. I think this is not as loose. I mean, I think it's if it's an animal fur or it'll hang down, but it's not as loose if it was like a flowing dress. Well, how do you well. Okay, good. Now we're going to take the Sharpies off, like right here. Just give it a run by. There, and then I want to do a little more imperfections down here. There we go, just we're making it so it's not too even. That's what we're trying to do here, because that, well, I still have to do some digging here. Again, digging. Digging, cleaning, and so on, but I want to move on. Dress. If I can think of something else, we'll come up with it right now. Take a little look. I can reach down and get my cup of some water. Okay. Now I want to start working on the arms, and it's the midsection here is really, of course, is the most difficult, because if I'm working on the arms, it's going to kind of work with the pigtail that's going on here, and I mean, a lot's going to come down because the pigtail is going to be number one. The back is farther, you know, the back is right here. The arm is more farther back. Therefore, there is the pigtail, which is going to be like about this. And the problem is I do not want to separate too much, unless you want to, too much of the pigtail And the pigtail is going to be mostly like, I want it closer to the back than the side. Oh, put a little too much oomph to it, and that's why, because I wasn't paying attention. That's what I want it to be, is more in the back. So actually I will take off some of that now, so it'll get out of the way. What is it doing, the arms? Because the arms and hands and baby and all that comes all at once. It's got to come all at once here. You can see already begun separating. And again, you got a better pattern than I do. And since I want to be careful with taking too much off here, just because, I mean, there's quite a bit to take off. There, keep that for now. And right now, I also want to start in on the back. So the pigtail is going to do, I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to be kind of like this kind of a thing. And then that's where it's all going to start, probably come a little wider. And then it'll start in, which means I want to get rid of a lot of that. Not too much at first right here. I'm going to start here. See how it goes first. And I want to take this down. For sure, this is going to be taken down to the belt. So really getting that back started here. Okay.